Welcome back, everybody, to Freaky Tales Podcast, episode 16. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody that's subscribed, everybody that's commenting, everybody that's hit the like button, everybody who has waited patiently. First and foremost, let me share that the reason why we hadn't had Freaky Tales lately, I believe the last 3 weeks, is because we've been doing a lot of filming. Most of our filming has been surrounded around Thursday and Friday, and we've been trying to do as much as filming as we can through this pandemic. So it's kind of tough, but that's the way it's been going. So with that being said, some of you may be upset what I'm about to say right now, but I have to do it because of the documentary that I'm working on. We will be having Freaky Tales only every other Friday, so twice a month, until things pick up, or as we get closer to finishing up this documentary, then we'll go back to every Friday. I see it as a benefit because it gives me an opportunity to work more, and it gives me an opportunity to line up even more interesting guests that have been wanting to get out here, but are very reluctant because of the pandemic. So I understand that, just like on my other podcast. Others are very reluctant to come out because they may have a loved one sick at home, and somehow they just don't want to come in contact with somebody that may be infected with this virus. So, and that's understandable. So other than that, without further ado, I wanted to bring someone that I've been wanting to introduce for a long time. And this is Bskanless, my son. So I'm glad that he's here, and he's a part of Freaky Tales. He knows he has a freaky dad. You know, I've been involved with horror movies for years. He knows a lot of what I've done, whether it be Halloween, whether it be production, whether he knows about my scary movie that eventually I want to direct, and that will happen. But first and foremost, I got to finish what's at hand. So, Bskanless, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Everything's good.
Everything's good. Did you get around, before we get into some of our topics, and we are going to take a lot of calls, so be ready. So when they call and they want us to elaborate or want us to share, or, you know, on what may be going on with their stories, I want you to speak on that as well. Okay. But reason why I brought you along is because if anybody knows me, it's you. Okay. I always refer to you as my right-hand man. Many people know that. You've been around the music industry for a long time, and you've been around what I've been doing since day one. So, but I wanted to ask you, because there's a new series on Netflix called The Night Stalker, I believe, Richard Ramirez story. Have you gotten around to see it?
Have not seen it, but I know you've been mentioning it to me already like twice.
Yes.
I've not seen it yet, though, but I've seen lots of posts, especially on IG, about it.
Yeah, I've seen 2 episodes. It's a 4 episode, and I actually seen 2 episodes last night. Okay. And then I actually fell asleep on it because I was sleeping. But so far it's very, very interesting. I will give my opinion on it once I'm done.
Okay.
You know, once I'm done. But I do recommend everybody, if you guys want to see something that's crazy, something that happened in real life. You know, this was a guy that would walk into your house and literally just have his way with you, you know, kill you, whether it be, you know, molesting, whether it be raping, whether it be murdering. And I learned things about him that I didn't know. I had my friend Mike Santana that came over here, and he spoke on Manson, the Black Dahlia.
I remember him. Yeah.
He talked about Richard Ramirez, talked about O.J. Simpson. So when they came out with this, I thought it was very interesting. So I recommend everybody to go check it out.
Quick. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, he was the person who cut people up and had them in his fridge, right? Or make himself something to eat while he killed the person or whatever, right?
Okay. This was a guy, you got part of it. I think part of it might be some Jeffrey Dahmer in there, but that's a different guy.
Okay. Yeah.
But Richard Ramirez would actually kill him and then at times eat either a banana or make himself a sandwich or something while they were there.
Yeah. I remember hearing something like that.
I mean, it takes somebody who's seriously ill, psychotic, I mean, all of the above to do something like that while there's a dead body and there you are watching TV and eating food.
Well, he's before my time and his name is still around. So he obviously did some freaky crap.
He had a lot of people terrified during that time.
Yeah.
You know, and because remember, home is supposed to be your safe place.
Yes.
You know, and this guy just walk in.
Yeah, that's,
you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, but you know what? Let me ask you something since we're on the topic of Netflix and this documentary of Richard Ramirez. Growing up, what was some of the, so that people can get a better feel of things that you have seen, things that I've introduced you to, what was some of the scary movies growing up that made an impact or literally just scared the hell out of you, if you can remember?
I have to say Michael Myers first. Only Michael Myers first because I remember being as a kid, you would play that movie. I always remembered the Halloween, the pumpkin, the carving of it. I remember you also dressing up as Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Plenty of times as us being kids. I remember us doing graveyards in our house, setting up cobwebs, dead heads hanging on side of the roof that we would post. We would go all out, I believe, for Halloween. I remember you taking us trick-or-treating, but I think the scaring part was the best thing for me, especially when I would dress up or we would all dress up and do like, not a haunted house, but people would come give out candy and scare people while they were coming.
Yeah.
But I definitely remember Halloween always being good, always remembering movies, whether it be Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, Leprechaun in the Hood. Like, that guy was freaky too. I remember one of my sisters terrified of the Leprechaun. She would scream because she heard, "Me want me gold."
Right.
So it's crazy. I honestly thought horror movies were definitely an impact. I remember running down the hallway scared, sliding on the lights, turning it off, run back,
Right.
taking off. But Halloween definitely became a good, like a holiday to me. But it's dope.
So you would say that the movie Halloween itself had a great impact.
Halloween definitely had a big impact to me. Definitely.
You mentioned Michael Myers. You mentioned Freddy. You mentioned Jason. You mentioned Leprechaun. What about like the Chucky movies, stuff like that?
You know what? I like Chucky, but it was just like a freakish doll to me. Like I remember some of the stuff that he posted. I remember one of my cousins was afraid of Chucky. Definitely, definitely afraid of Chucky. But I don't think I was ever afraid of Chucky or nothing. I just thought it was kind of funny until I seen the first movie. Obviously, getting a little older, seen the first movie, then I thought, okay, this crazy ass doll.
Yeah,
definitely. But I think Leprechaun had more of a trip to me than Chucky, honestly.
Why that one out of all the other ones?
Because Leprechaun was just something crazy to me. It was like someone took the fairy tale of a leprechaun and brought it to life, but made him look like a damn demon, almost like literally. And then he was, if you stole his gold, he was coming after you, plain and simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was crazy. I definitely think just him appearing, being places, popping up out of nowhere, being omnipresent, if you will.
Yeah, being in different places, different times. But let me say this: do you think that movie, since we're talking horror movies, do you think that movie, if he would have been a tall guy playing a leprechaun, do you think it would have been any different, or do you think because he was a dwarf is what made it more?
Because he was a dwarf, what made it more? It made it more realistic. It was more scary to me. And then the voice wasn't cheesy, wasn't corny. It was more of like, oh shit, like damn, this guy's like the way he's talking, the way he's approaching. It was just definitely crazy, especially being young watching it.
I mean, think about this for a second. Why would somebody that small scare you?
Yeah, I was a kid and I was scared. Definitely the way he was dressed. He's dressed like the Lucky Charm guy, literally.
Yeah.
Literally. But he had a scary ass look.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you think about, like, again, Chucky, it's just a doll and he's small.
Yes.
But the guy can do some damn damage.
When he said hide the soul, I was tripping. He got me on that one, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about maybe, okay, because those movies were around when you were a kid. You started getting a little bit older. What are some of the movies that you can remember that possibly freaked you out? If you can remember, outside of those movies that we just mentioned, since we're talking horror movies, anything that you might have seen.
I have to say, the Saw movies, the Saw trilogies, those were definitely dope to me. Dude was hiding keys behind people's eyeballs. You'd have to cut off your arm, and you have another key inside your arm. You had to kill somebody else to get to the next level. It was just puzzles, and it was like a mystery to me. It was crazy. It really caught my attention. But to me, those were a trip because it was just gruesome. Like, you had to cut off your foot to get your leg out. Your leg out. You were chained up. You're chained against the wall. If you don't get out, you're gonna die. There was I remember one guy had a thing around his neck. If you didn't do it in a certain amount of time, if you didn't cut a piece of your skin off or whatever it was to slip out so you could come out through your head, there was nails gonna shoot through your neck. Like, it was just crazy. I think it was more of a torture type of movie, but it was definitely crazy. Those trilogies, I should say, were definitely crazy. But I do got to say, Rob Zombie killed it on Michael Myers.
The first one or the second one?
I think the first one.
The first one was good. I didn't like the second one.
Second one was a little weird. I think it was a little weird because he went into how he was a kid.
Yeah.
That was definitely kind of weird.
That one is good
crazy.
if you're on some acid or something.
It was definitely a little odd. Definitely a little odd, but the first one was great. Definitely.
But Saw, let's go back to Saw, because not only did they use great actors, I mean, it was real freaky because, like what you said, in order for you to get out, you literally had to saw off, one of your legs or cut off a body part.
Definitely.
And then you kind of wonder to yourself, put yourself in that situation, would you have done it?
I don't know. I don't know if I could pull out my eye if the key's behind my eye. I'm not gonna have one more eye. I don't think I want to be walking around like that, honestly. But that trilogy is definitely something else. I think that one will definitely be remembered for a long time. Definitely.
Well, those movies definitely do things to people, because they're just way out there. They're freaky. They're crazy.
Gruesome.
Yes.
Gruesome.
I'll tell you another one that I only saw part one, and it really, really bothered me. It was Hostel.
Oh, yeah. I remember that movie. I remember little pieces of it, but I remember that movie.
That one really, really freaked me out because they were using women to draw in, I guess, if you will, what would you say, people to be tortured, for the elite, for the rich.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Dang, what was that movie? The Purge. The Purges. Those were crazy, too. The elite, the rich, were paying to kill people.
Yeah.
And they were doing it with their family, literally.
Yeah. And in Hostel, going back to Hostel, but we'll work our way back up to the Purge. But as far as Hostel, what really, really got me is just that the way people would pay so much money just to torture someone, not necessarily to even kill them, but eventually they would die, but to torture them, peel off their skin or burn them or yank out their eyeballs or something. And that movie, I would say, it really, really bothered me, and it stayed on my mind for a long time. It was to the point where I even asked myself, why did I even give myself the time to even watch this? Because it's, to pay just to torture someone, to see someone's pain. I would have been the person going in there, blasting those people to set those people free. I would have been on the other side, but there's some sick people out there, some real sick people.
Definitely some sick people, I'm sure, that have money and will pay to do stuff like that to prove that they have money and get away with it.
Well, it's kind of like there's a movie, I don't know if you've ever heard of snuff films.
No.
Okay. Snuff films is pretty much where somebody pays, I guess they get, whether it's a prostitute or whatever. And what they do, they have sex and kill them.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
And Nicolas Cage, and I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. He made a movie that somebody rich hired him to investigate the snuff film that was found in his possession, or, I forgot exactly how it goes, but you guys look it up. It's a snuff movie with Nicolas Cage in it. I almost want to say 8mm, but it may have the wrong name. And with that being said, somebody hired him to investigate, almost play detective, see what you could find out and find out who did this, because somehow that girl that was killed in that movie was a family member or some type of relative. Yeah, and she was killed, I guess, after sex, and they did whatever, and they killed her.
You know what movie that reminds me of? It reminds me of the one with Clint Eastwood. I think it's called Bloodwork. Is it Bloodwork?
Yeah, but that was more of a murder mystery.
Yeah, but it was crazy the way the people, he was killing people and writing a message with their blood on the wall.
Right.
Like,
like what Charles Manson did.
Okay, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, he would write Helter Skelter. You know, he would write certain things with blood on the walls.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and but now I know The Purge is fairly recent, but let's back up a little bit more. Any other movies other than Hostel, other than the movie that you had mentioned, Saw, that comes to mind that you were bothered by or that freaked you out?
It's gotta be Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the newest one that came out, because people going to a house and then this guy's cutting people up and taking pieces of their face and making a mask. That bothered me. That was a little weird. That was like, you're doing the most. And I seen the original one, and I thought that one was crazy still. But I know it was old, the way it looked and everything, but the appreciation for the movie during that time was definitely great. But the newest one probably was a trip still to me. It was a trip.
Yeah. Now, for me, I couldn't really get into the new one as much because I was so spoiled already as a youngster with the original one.
Okay.
And that one, when you see it, and for those of you that are fans of horror movies, when you see it, it's almost like I don't understand how they could have said action or cut, or because that movie was so real.
Yeah, I would have been stuck like watching it, honestly.
Yeah,
it was definitely, the guy who played him at that time definitely played a good part. Definitely played a good part.
All the actors, they were pretty much unknown actors, and they played great roles. Even the girl at the end, she's freaked out when the guy's running after her with the chainsaw. She hops in the back of the truck. She takes off. You know, and the way she's crying and laughing, she has blood all over her face, and you know, those are impressions that stick to you, that stay with you. I mean, even to my adulthood, I still remember that. Visuals are very, very important, but I think many times they could also be detrimental to you, because I think some people watch certain things, and because they see it, they eventually want to do it. That's where we get these copycat killers, if you will, because the news blows them up, and they say, you know what, let me try that.
Oh, and they're getting turned on by it.
Yeah,
sure.
They get turned on by it. So many times, I mean, it's good to expose these serial killers and what they're doing, but at the same time, weak-minded people are being influenced.
Oh yes, a lot of weak-minded people are being influenced by killings and stuff like that. Definitely, you're right.
You know, like I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, and I have such a great memory, but I have so many movies going through my mind. I'll give you guys an example. It was with the guy that plays Snake Plissken. I'm trying to remember his name. Kurt Russell. Okay, and then even Steven Seagal was in it. Okay, and it was about an airplane movie where Arabs stole an airplane and were going to drive it through the Pentagon.
What year was this?
This was in the 90s. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Executive Decision.
Okay.
Executive Decision. So you guys can go look it up. And these guys were praising Allah. You know, they obviously the directors, the writers, they wrote this movie way beforehand. Now, could it have influenced, people say, no, it was an inside job. Other people say it was Muslims. But regardless, there was a plane going to go into the Pentagon.
It's definitely an influence, whether people want to argue about it, lie about it, whatever. It's an influence, because music is an influence today to people, whether people want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Very, very true. Now, let's go back to what you said about the movie like The Purge.
Yes.
Okay. The sad thing is that when that movie came out, I knew certain people, and I know they were just joking around, or were they? We should have that, The Purge.
Oh, I heard that from lots of people. Lots of people agreed on having the Purge, about let them purge for one night. Everyone get their anger out of them or whatever it may be. But yeah, I definitely heard that too by a lot of people. I had a lot of people that were with that, definitely.
Yeah, I see. And to me, I don't understand that, because since that is not in my heart to take a person's life unless it's defending my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what makes another person say, you know what, I'm just going to go out tonight and, you know, just take care of some business, you know?
Yeah, I definitely hear you.
You know, and I'm sure that there's people, I mean, look, we got violence on the streets already as enough as it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's people killing each other. There's black on black. There's Mexican on Mexican. There's white on, we have that. We don't need the purge.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know,
I hear you.
But
remember though, any law can be broken. So it's not really just killing anybody. Certain people were going out to rob. Obviously, that comes along with killing or maybe beating somebody up. But like I said before, the elite was even paying for people in their family. In one of the Purge movies, they paid for an old grandpa that was already dying. He was pretty much dying already.
Right.
And he paid, the family will be paid when he got killed, pretty much.
Yeah.
So he went and got murdered by an entire elite white family where they set it up with sheets all over the floor and everything. So after they killed him, it'd be easy to fold up and roll him out. And I thought, to me, that was crazy because he did it for his family so his family can get paid. But yet it tripped me out that somebody else would go out of their way to pay for that man and say, we'll pay your family. We're going to kill you, though. That tripped me out.
yeah, well, he pretty much, that was like a sacrifice. You know, he was ill. He knew he was going to pass away. But what a way to end your life.
Yeah.
You know, what a way to end your life. I mean, now I put myself in that situation and say, if I had to do that for my family, would I? Yeah, of course. Anything to protect my family. And I believe anyone who is a family man, his family better come first. His family better come first, you know, before anything, you know. But those type of movies always make you, if you will, like, just think like, wow, what if that really did happen?
Yeah, because lots of thoughts definitely run through my head during that movie. You see people in ice cream trucks driving around with ski masks, ready to rob people, ready to kill people, rape, whatever they were doing in that movie.
Yeah.
But those movies would definitely be remembered too.
Yeah.
Another movie I thought it came into my head right now was The Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, the new one. I thought that was dope. Definitely someone coming. I've seen the original ones, but definitely somebody coming for you in your dreams. That's something crazy.
See, and that's the thing, because I've had dreams that I couldn't wake up from, and then I've had dreams as of recent where I'm yelling for help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody wake me up, and I get woken up. You know, I've shared with a friend not too long ago that when I dream every night. I dream in high definition. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can smell, I can taste, I can touch in my dreams. It's almost like I'm alive.
Yeah.
I have different types of dreams. There's dreams where some people would say these are out-of-body experiences. I don't know how to title them, so I'm not going to title them. But I would say that there's been times where I'm asleep, and it's almost like I know it. I'm awake or I'm asleep, but I'm somewhere right in the middle. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to get up, turn around and look at my body still asleep and walk out my front door.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. I've never experienced nothing like that. I think the most I've experienced was I fell off the edge of a building and I woke up like
yeah.
If I almost fell. Like I knew I was falling. I felt it.
Right.
That's probably the most I've ever can say that. But I had a friend who told me he woke up with a scratch literally across his chest.
Now,
so
see,
that's a little weird.
Those are things like back to the Freddy Krueger movie. If he scratched you, you woke up with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a possibility that there's something maybe on the other side of your dreams that possibly can do that, because there's been multiple people that have experienced that. Mm-hmm. You know, now, the bad part about those dreams that I'm talking about, where I feel either you're awake, you're asleep, or I'm somewhere in the middle. Those type of dreams that I know I'm dreaming, and I can go and walk and fly anywhere I want. Okay, now I don't have those dreams all the time, but I do. The scary part of those dreams that I always see something that's non-human.
See, I can't say that, but I've had dreams multiple times, and like they're still even today. that I've had dreams, and like if I walk into a room and I see people's face blurred out, but I can see their entire clothes.
Right.
I can see if he's wearing a chain, if he's got a Rolex on, whatever. If he has a beer in his hand, I can see everything detail, but I can't see their face. And that was weird to me. And then I would walk into another room and I would see people I know, and I would see everything, their face and everything. To me, that was weird. I think that's probably one of the weirdest dreams I've ever had, and I've had it multiple times.
Now, there's other dreams that I've had that have came true, but those dreams are the ones that I've dreamt like them twice in a row. Like if I have a dream tonight and I dream that again tomorrow night, it comes to pass the third day. I've had those dreams.
Okay, the only time I can say that is it's weird because it's happened a couple times. But the only time I can really say, oh, wow, it happened, and I remembered, was last year, like at the beginning of the year, because I saw something and it actually happened. And before that happened, nothing like that hadn't happened in a long time. But I've had dreams, or I want to say deja vu, if you want to call it, because I had someone tell me, oh, you have deja vu. Even as a kid, someone told me that before. You have deja vu, because a few things that I've seen have happened. And most of the time when I've seen something, it's happened. I'm still waiting for certain things to happen, but stuff has happened.
I think one of the weirdest things, and I just had this dream. Well, this was several years ago. And the type of dream that I had several years ago, since we're talking about dreams of Freddy Krueger and movies like that, because we were talking about those are the type of dreams where those people are in the dreams, they're being tormented, and they can't wake up. Okay. This type of dream I had maybe about 10 years ago. And I was walking the streets in the neighborhood, and it was dark. This was one of those dreams that I got up out of my bed, walked out my front door, and I just started walking down the street. Now, keep in mind, I could walk into anybody's house. Here's the crazy part. It's going to freak people out. I walked into people's houses, which I've never been in. Later on, now I'm awake. They invite me over for a barbecue, whatever, and I go to the house, and I know everything that's in their house.
Well, you knew these people.
Yes, but I've never been
in their house.
I've never been in their house.
Yeah, see, that's weird.
It's a weird thing for me to even share.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking. Okay. It's like, how would you know what's in their house already and you ain't never been there? Very weird. Very weird. That's
part of the reason why I was encouraged to start up this podcast, because we get to share our freaky stories. Okay. Now, I noticed that there was one guy, and you said something very similar to my story, that these certain people's faces were blurred out.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy's face was blurred out, like literally like blurred out.
Yeah, it was like a blurry thing.
Yeah. You could see his body and everything. I couldn't tell who he was, but he kept following me for at least about a block and a half. So I finally stopped and I said, identify yourself, reveal yourself. Who are you? And I kept pleading with him. I yelled at him, and then finally the blur went away, and it was somebody that I considered a friend. And I heard a voice saying, that's the enemy. Okay? Here's what happened. A couple of days later, that guy backstabbed me. In real life. I just had that same type of dream not too long ago. And the God honest truth, that guy backstabbed me. And I don't like to have those type of dreams, but, you know, it's happened.
That's funny because that's when people say, you know, the vibes, because you feel it.
Yeah.
Definitely. You feel the energy, all that. For sure. I definitely believe that, because there's a lot of weird stuff. And sometimes you can feel it and you just don't know.
Right.
It feels too comfortable. It feels too good, whether you're hanging out with people or being around certain people.
Yeah.
But I definitely know what you're saying, because I definitely felt like I've been places or left and something just happened, but something told me to leave, or something told me, let's go, we got to go. And I've been with multiple people where people will tell you that I've told them, oh, let's leave. And we left and the party got shot up.
Same thing with me. Multiple times that I've left and things like that happened, you know. And the next day people would tell me, oh, man, you left right on time. Like several times that has happened. But now, let's talk about movies like, for an example, before we take some calls, let's talk about a movie like Insidious. Okay.
I watched very little bit of it. I never watched the full thing, but I watched very little bit of it.
Okay. Okay. So if you haven't seen it, then there's no point on talking about it. But I will say this: that deals with the paranormal. Okay. That deals with the demonic realm, which I do believe. Some people would say it's energy. Some people would say it's something else. And I don't argue and I don't disagree. That's their point of view. That's how they study it. That's how they see it.
Of course.
I get it. But me, I believe in angels and demons.
Okay.
Angels and demons, and that's it.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, of course.
Right.
But what makes you think that maybe ghosts or paranormal or none of that, maybe it's all a demon?
Right.
Just saying in general, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So.
Right. And of course, people disagree with me, and that's fine. That's what makes this podcast and this conversation interesting, because everybody has their own opinion on it. But dealing with that movie, seeing that movie, there were things in that movie that I've shared here on this show before that I've seen and I've experienced, and it's happened to me. I've seen it in that movie, you know, and it's not a good thing. You know, there are people that say, I want to see something paranormal. I want to see I want to witness something. I want to experience. Believe me, you don't want to experience any of that.
Yeah, I ain't looking for none of that. So honestly,
yeah.
I ain't trying to walk into nothing like that.
You know, and there are people that call themselves ghost hunters and go looking for things. I'm not going to go look for anything.
I know what you're talking about, because that brought me up to the Conjuring. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
The Conjuring was crazy too, and those people went into that house and really looked for it. I think one of them, I forgot the guy's name, him and his wife, but Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah.
I want to say it was Warren or something like that, but it was Ed and Lorraine, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But they were casting demons out of people and stuff like that. To me, that was crazy. You went in looking to a house that stuff was happening. The house was smelling.
Yeah.
Birds were flying into the corner of the window.
Yeah.
A lady who was claimed to be a witch was hung on a tree where she, not too far, she killed her own child.
Yeah.
And this was all real story. This is real story. You can look it up. They're real, how do you call it? They were...
based on a true story?
Yeah, it was based on a true story, but I forgot what it was called, though. They
based on true events or whatever.
Yeah, but they had a name for themselves. They weren't called like the priest or nothing to go cast out a demon. They had a name for themselves, what they were being called. I forgot. It slipped my mind, but
okay.
Yeah, that's definitely a crazy movie. If you ain't seen Conjuring, check it out. Conjuring 1 and 2.
Yeah, I've only seen I believe I've seen 2 of them, but the one that stayed with me was the first one. That's the one that really, really bothered me, because this woman walks in and she says when she meets the children, there's a dark entity, if you will. I would say a demon. Other people say entity. Some people say a dark force or whatever attached to this family. And then they said, it's not the house. You can leave this house, but that thing's still going to follow you. So it was actually following the family.
See, that's crazy to think that, like, for a demon or somebody to be attached to your family, or a ghost, whatever you want to call it.
And I know that there's people out there that have stories like that possibly they left their home and the same thing started happening in their new home. You know, families that leave what they may say it's a haunted house, but they go out and buy a brand new home and the same thing starts happening over and over again. Or I've known people that have did history of their house and found out that either their house was built on a grave site or something of that nature. But The Conjuring was definitely one that freaked me out. There's another one that people are talking about. I've never seen. No, I just don't remember part of it. Sinister. I don't know if you've seen that one.
See, no, I never saw that. That one didn't catch my attention. But I know what you're talking about, but it didn't catch my attention.
I know I saw it. I'm just trying to remember parts of it. But now, I know you're going to disagree with me, and I understand because you're a part of this, this new generation that kind of thought that this movie was somewhat of a joke, or maybe correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But the movie like The Exorcist.
I think they need to redo it. Because, okay, look at it. Take it with a grain of salt, whatever, but I do think I understand. This is back in the 80s, right?
70s.
70s, okay, 70s. They didn't have the best equipment. They didn't have 4K cameras. They didn't have none of that. So I looked at it as a back then perspective, and that was probably the scariest you could have got back then, which was crazy for whoever wrote that movie and wrote the dialogue, because there was some way out shit on there, especially for that girl's face to be like that, the priest. That movie was definitely crazy, but I do feel someone needs to remake that, definitely, because that would scare the hell out of this generation. I don't feel these people want to tap their face or do whatever or think they hard or whatever, but I think that movie will shock some people, because I know a lot of people haven't seen that movie still today.
Right. If it's done right.
Oh, if it's done right, yeah, you definitely have to put in the right money.
If not, you're going to ruin it.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that that movie, what made it, if you will, special, was even though it was tormenting to me as a kid, but what made it special was that it was at least 20 years ahead of its time.
You think that?
I know so. And I've seen plenty of documentaries of people that would tell you there was never anything out there like it. Nobody had ever pushed the envelope like that, especially about the devil.
Can you say people were traumatized at your age watching that movie? There was a lot of people?
A lot of people. A lot of people. Now, I'll share with you a story that I've shared before. Linda Blair was, if I'm correct, you guys can look at it. She was about 13 years old when she did that movie. Okay?
Okay.
So that would make her, what, I don't know, 9th grade maybe? Okay.
No, 13. No, you're in middle school still.
Still, well, for me, middle school was still 7th, 8th, and 9th, so.
Yeah, you're like middle school if you're like 13, because 15 you'd be like 9th grade.
Okay. So now, she and her manager or her agent wanted to go see it at a theater. So what they did, they went and, when it came out, okay, theaters were packed. They went and sat at the back. Okay. Linda Blair shares the story that there was a woman in front of her that fainted. She passed out and fell on the ground. Her normal reaction was, let me wake her up, let me help her. Her agent or her manager, I'm not sure who it was, grabbed her and yanked her out, and they left and told Linda Blair, she fainted by seeing you on the screen. Can you imagine what would happen to her if she woke up to you?
Oh, yeah. She would have had a heart attack. She would have flipped out then. Yeah. Crazy. Damn, that's a trip. I didn't think about it like that, how you said it. But that is definitely a trip. Like, she probably would have panicked out. Like, she was sitting behind me and I've seen her on the screen. Definitely.
I mean, if people still get scared from that movie, her name was Reagan in that movie. And there's been people that have come here and says, I can't, with Reagan. I can't, with Reagan.
Yeah.
Adults still, and think about it. It's the music. It's the noise. It's what she was saying. Nobody was saying those things in movies like that. You think, I think of the 80s when we had rap groups that were first cursing. We were like, wow, he said that? This was in the early 70s.
Yeah.
And she's saying these profane things, and to priests. So that's what I mean by it was at least 20 years ahead of its
I get
time.
what you're saying by that. I think today, since a lot of that is okay on the radio and on the air and TV, and you can say whatever you want pretty much, especially on whether it be YouTube, Twitch, whatever it is, Instagram, doesn't matter today. I definitely feel, though, it does need to be done. Like somebody like Rob Zombie type, definitely. Because I like his special effects. I like the way he goes into movies. I like the way he approaches it.
Right.
Definitely has an imagination, but I do feel like it would have to be multiple people in there, like helping that movie out, because there'd have to be crazy killing scenes. There'd have to be, even if I guess if they just redid it the way it was before, it would be good, just like that.
See, and that's the thing that I'm not sure. I haven't did too much research into it, so I don't know if they're going to remake it or just a new storyline and just call it The Exorcist.
Yeah, see, that's what so if they remake it just the way it was, that'd be pretty dope too. But it's going to be, it has to be a lot up to date. Has to be something today. Like right now, if it happened in Europe or something, you know what I mean?
See, but the shock is not going to be there anymore, because in the 70s, it shocked everybody because nobody had ever done anything like that. Now, today, so much has been done. You're going to have to try to do something that's never been done to shock people all over again. That's what I'm referring to, that I don't know if it can top it, because this was new back then. It's not so new now because everybody curses. Everybody,
I get what you're saying. That's kind. Damn, I don't know why, but that's kind of like music. Everybody's just repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just going in a circle pretty much. But I get what you're saying. But if they rewrote it with the new story, I think that'd be great too. And do some other stuff. Throw a twist in there. Do something different.
Now, let me say something. Say that I was going to direct The Exorcist, okay?
Okay.
You know what I would start it off with?
How would you start it off?
I would start off with music before I started filming. Okay, and I'll tell you why. I would build around that because I see things. I have a vision that most people don't have. I hear a song. I'm being a producer. You have to hear the song done already right here before you do it here. You have to hear it here. When we did the beat, me and Darren Vegas, and I brought him my ideas. Let's put it together. That beat for Freaky Tales, the one that we hear, was never meant for anybody to rap over. It was never supposed to be a rap song. So when we did that song, I had visuals already. This is gonna go here. This is gonna go here. The Exorcist, Bigfoot, the UFO, the Loch Ness. Here. We put it together, and that's why we have the intro there. So I would do the movie in my imagination. The priest walking in, meeting this demon-possessed girl. I'd have music already just for that scene.
Okay.
And then I'd build around it. So I do it different. I know some people would do the movie first.
That reminded me of Constantine right now that you said that. The priest walking in. You remember the movie Constantine?
Of course, one of my favorite movies.
With Keanu Reeves. That was a crazy movie too. Shia LaBeouf was in it too.
Yeah.
That's right, Shia LaBeouf, yeah. That was a crazy movie too, definitely. Because that had to do with, if you want to say, heaven and hell, pretty much.
Yeah.
And how demons were surrounded us and we didn't even know. Spiritual world.
Yeah. And I do believe that that's true. I had a person tell me years ago, this is what he said. These are not my words, this is what he said. If God would open up our eyes, our spiritual eyes to the spiritual realm, you'll be able to see angels and demons.
I believe it. Because I believe sometimes, I don't want to say all people are, oh, that person has a demon, but I believe that too, especially when people are on drugs. People are under the influence of whether it be alcohol or whatever. I believe either that brings out something or maybe it attracts a spirit or attracts something. But I do believe that if our third eye, if you want to call it, were to be open, I definitely believe we'd see stuff. Definitely.
Well, I've talked to people that I'm trying to get on here that, believe it or not, are very reluctant to share, if you will, that they've seen demonic forces. Like they've seen them and they've even described them to me. And that's why I say from experience, when people say, oh, I just want to see something, you don't want to see it. You don't, because it will change your life forever.
But I think that's good, though, that you have people on here talking about that.
Yeah.
Because some people need to hear about it before they see something.
No, it's very, very true. I know we've talked about it. There's movies called where they talk about Ouija boards.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there is called Ouija.
Yeah, a Ouija. I think it's Ouija board or something like that. But yeah.
Now, if you go to The Exorcist, I believe the director, the writer, was trying to let us know that Captain Howdy, that was the name of the spirit. I believe it came through that Ouija board, because in the very beginning of the movie, Reagan is playing with the Ouija board and it's actually moving by itself. I think the writer and the director was pretty much telling us this is the root of it. Okay. I do believe that certain games like that or certain rituals or whatever people want to practice, it could open a door for something to come in.
Okay, now that you said that, because that reminded me of The Conjuring also. So you said obviously it can open the door maybe for something, okay?
Right.
Now, in The Conjuring, remember the doll?
Yeah.
It was looking like a scary doll or something. In reality, it was a cheap baby doll.
Yeah.
In reality. You can see the real picture of it. But do you believe with its forces, spirits, demons, whatever it may be, ghosts, do you think something can, I guess, like go into it or take over of that thing? Like how you said it opened the door for the Ouija board. But is it possible for, I guess, a spirit, demon, or anything to take over someone or to enter into someone? Do you believe that?
Someone or an object?
Or an object. An object.
I believe that there are certain objects that attract certain demonic forces. And many times people go to yard sales, people go to antique stores, and they don't know where something like this possibly, in whose hands it was before that. Mm-hmm. They could take it home, and all of a sudden they start experiencing things. Now, I do believe that people can be demonically possessed and not even know it.
Okay, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it can truly be demonically possessed. I've seen people that later on I found out, whether people want to believe it or not, but for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to share it. Mm-hmm. Later on, were delivered from being demonically possessed. And I remember meeting these people, and I'm going to tell you one thing that I've noticed from 3 different people that I found out later were demonically possessed and were delivered. Many of them had, I'm trying to find the right words.
Okay.
Horrible, terrible, anger issues. It was to the point where they got so angry, it was like a light switch. They became a different person, and even their facial expressions changed when they began to speak.
I've seen facial expression. I've seen people really, really get mad. Yeah, I think that's possible. I think it's definitely possible.
I've seen people's voices even change, and the color of their skin even change as they get angry.
I believe the voices. Definitely the voices.
It's almost like they became somebody else.
Yeah,
And later on, they came up to me and told me, hey, I'm going to church now. I got delivered. And I talked to him, what happened? And he said, I got delivered, man. You know, I had an evil spirit, and I was delivered. Now, I wasn't there to see this.
Yeah.
But to look at their life now compared to the way it was, there was something definitely wrong with that person.
Contradict both ways.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was night and day. You know,
big difference then.
But one thing that, like I said, that all 3 of them had in common, and it just wasn't anger like where these people just get mad. No, this was to the point where it was over the top, and they became somebody else. It's almost like they became psychotic. You heard it in their voice, you saw it in their facial expressions, and they got so angry that even the color of their skin or their face changed. You know, and I've seen it firsthand. And then by their own admission, they'd come back and tell me that they were delivered. You know, now if they were or if they weren't, I don't know. But their lifestyle was now night and day.
Totally different.
Yeah, it was totally different. So, but yeah, you know, I do believe that there are people out there that are demonically possessed and don't even know it. I do believe that there are things that you can buy, you can purchase, or you can find and bring home, and it attracts, or something is attached to it. You refer to the movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves. What was it that gave those guys the power? It was that sword.
Yeah, the sword.
There was something. We can't say that the sword was possessed, but it was something that it drew.
It was because people were saying it was the blood of Jesus. That was supposedly the sword that stabbed him in the ribs, I think it was. Supposedly, so a little bit of the blood was on there, and if you were able to get that sword, and not only there was power or something that was in it, but yeah, definitely.
So there was something in the movie attached to that sword. So I do believe that there are certain objects that you could bring home. So for people listening, a lot of times people say, you know, things happen in my house. Lights turn off, pictures fall out. I see shadows, I see silhouettes, I see things. Many times, just think about this. It might not be the house. Could have been something you purchased.
Think could have been something you brought into your house, like you said?
Absolutely. Quick story. I know this woman that shared with me that she started experiencing things in her house, shadows, silhouettes, things out of like not normal, okay? But when she started to investigate and started to look into it a little bit more, she noticed that her daughter started to dress very dark now. Like her daughter's lifestyle started changing. And she would notice that her daughter would always say, I'm going to go do my homework, go into the closet. There would be no light. And she would do her homework in the dark with a flashlight. So one day she decided to go in there when her daughter wasn't there. Found out that her daughter was cutting herself. Daughter was doing her homework in there, but she also had little statues. She was practicing some type of religion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, obviously it wasn't good because whatever the daughter was bringing in, she never told the mother. But the mother, not knowing that, started to experience different things going on in the house. That's crazy. And it was all traced back to that. Now, Many times you can get some of that stuff, grab it, throw it away, but whatever that spirit is could possibly still be there, or it could possibly be attached to a family member.
That's very possible. I believe that's very possible because I have a friend who has if you wanted to call it a trap house, it's a 2-story house, and nobody lives on top. It's only one. There's only one room up there. The bottom part is one room also. It's a big room though, both of them. And I've walked into his room multiple times, and we've pressed mute on the TV because it sounded like somebody's upstairs walking. It sounded like the TV turned on upstairs. Walked up to the room, nobody was there. It literally sounded like the door was opening, and somebody was knocking. Nobody was there. But I definitely believe something can be attracted to a house or an object, for sure. I'm starting to think that, for sure.
You know, there are people that are probably listening right now, probably thinking, man, I wonder if I have anything. There is such thing as being demonically possessed, and then there is, I believe, demonically oppressed. Oppressed meaning not necessarily that this demon or whatever you want to call it, entity or spirit, is in you, but it's harassing you, tormenting you, terrifying you, and that's what it's doing. But you've never opened the door for him to enter into you. You know, it's kind of like those old vampire movies. They would say, a vampire cannot enter into your house unless you invite him in. You have to invite him in. And I think many times people do certain things and are a part of certain things that welcome those things in.
Or invite that energy in, whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
Let me share something with you that I read many years ago when I was 22 years old, and it was actually in the Bible. Jesus says this, and as he's celebrating Passover, what we call the Last Supper. Okay? He says, one of you here will betray me tonight. That's what he said. Now Judas hid it so good that all the disciples began to question each other and began to ask Jesus, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? You know what that tells me? That for 3.5 years that Judas walked with the disciples, with Jesus, he hid it that good that the disciples began to question themselves.
That's crazy then. For people in that circle, supposedly to be a strong circle,
yes,
and them question themselves.
And never looked at him and said, it must be him. Think about that. So
you're a good liar. You're a good deceiver. You're
that's
good
what
at
it was.
Some of those things.
That's what it was. Now, let's take it a step further. Jesus looks at Judas. He exposed him. And he says this, that what you do quickly. And the next scripture says this, Judas leaves and Satan enters into him.
Okay.
Now think about that. What did he do to open the door for the devil to enter into him?
He betrayed the Son of God, pretty much, right?
Yeah, but other many things. I mean, we can always speculate he was a thief. Yeah. Think about this.
So he was a thief originally?
Yes.
Oh, so he was a known stealer then?
Think about this, okay? Jesus knew that he was a thief, okay? Scriptures tell us that, for those that like to read.
Okay.
And still let him hold the purse.
The money, pretty much.
The money, the purse.
Wow. Okay.
He knew. Now, a person like Judas could now ever say, if these stories are true, he could never ever say, I was never given an opportunity. I was never given a chance.
To prove myself, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was.
See, that's crazy.
Now it goes back to this. Satan entered into him. There's only 2 scriptures in the entire Bible, 66 books, 39 in the Old, 27 in the New, where it says that Satan entered into a person. One is Judas and one is the Antichrist or the Anti-Messiah, whom I believe is alive today. Okay? But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute intermission break. So what we're going to do when we come back, I'm going to post the number where you guys can tune in. That should be up on the screen. And you guys can tune in. You guys can call in. You guys can share your story. We could talk about any Freaky Tales story that you may have, whether you want to comment on something that we said, whether it's a horror movie, maybe a movie that might have traumatized you, maybe a movie that might have, really messed with your mind, you could share that. If you have a paranormal story, maybe it didn't happen to you, maybe it happened to a family member, to a grandmother, and it's been shared with you and you just want to share it, or maybe something that's one of your personal experiences. So when we come back, we'll shoot up the number, we'll start taking calls, because we want you to be a part of this show. This show was created for you to join in with us. So we'll be back after this 5-minute intermission break, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to Freaky Tales Podcast. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Want to thank everybody who has subscribed, everybody who's commenting, everybody on the live chat. You guys made this possible, so I want to thank you guys for being a part of this Freaky Tales Friday. For those of you that weren't here at the very beginning of this podcast, meaning today, I announced that I will be doing Freaky Tales every other Friday instead of every Friday due to the filming that we're doing. So, and we do a lot of filming on Thursdays and Fridays. So that's part of the reason, we try to do it as much as we can due to this pandemic, but we are going to do every other Friday. And my apologies for that, but it's just like my time. I don't have much time. So those of you that know me know that either I'm always on the phone, I'm always making moves, but I'm trying to make things happen. And I love, hosting Freaky Tales, and I love having you guys here. But at the same time, I've run out of time. So with that being said, we won't be on next Friday, but the Friday after with our special guest, and it will give me more time to get other special guests as well. So other than that, I'm back here with my son. And Bskanless, you'll be able to follow him on Instagram. Once this video is posted, you'll see his Instagram on the description of this podcast, episode 16. The number should be up. And for those of you guys that want to call and just share, and you guys have a story, you guys want to comment on what we've been talking about, go ahead and do that. We allow you to maybe talk for 2 to 3 minutes tops. It's not a conversation. We just want you to share whatever story you guys have going on, whether it was something paranormal that happened to you, to a family member, maybe happened to a friend, it's been passed down to you by your grandmother or whatnot. Share that with us. We want you to be a part of this show. So the number should be up, and you can call and be live on the air with us. If you call, please turn down your television if you're watching us on your television, because many times we get the feedback. We're going to leave the number up there for you to call. Until then, we're going to continue our conversation. I know there's some of you out there that really want to call, and because many of you inbox me or DM me and tell me I chickened out, I should have called, but I didn't. I get it. But we'll leave the number up there so whenever you guys are ready. So other than that, I know we left talking about the Bible, and I don't try to sound too, if you will, preachy, but what a lot of people may not know, that the most information you can ever find out about the devil is in the Bible.
Quick question. You said Satan had only entered 2 people, which was Judas and supposedly the up-and-coming Antichrist, correct?
Right. So
was the serpent, the snake, supposedly with Adam and Eve? Mm-hmm. Do you think he was possessed?
We'll get back to that question. Let's go ahead and take this call. Caller, are you there?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, caller. How you doing? Give us your name and where you're calling from.
Good. I'm calling from Soledad, California, bro.
Soledad, California. How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Listen, this happened to me in 2006.
Yes.
I went to a service for a family friend, and a friend of my parents, actually. So my mom and I, we went, and we sat down at the service. I'm going to try to make this real quick, bro. So, we walked there, and then I had to leave to go get some things. I'd come back and sit down. There was a picture prior to that. There was a picture with the lady in red. You know what I mean? The lady who was deceased.
Yes.
On the side. And I always liked that picture, you know what I mean? But then I was like, okay, well, hey, that's pretty cool because it really captured how she looked and everything. So at that moment, my son was only 3 years old at the time, so he was acting up. I went outside to go let him run around a little bit before the service started. When we went back in, I saw that the picture had changed. Somebody had switched the picture, and I was like, oh, shoot. So I walked up to it, and I looked at it. And man, I'm not lying to you guys. Yeah, I walked up close to it. I saw the detail it was long gloves, white. Everything was white long gloves. I even saw the stitching on the lace, bro, by the elbow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She had a white sweater, a Zorro type hat, and she was tipping it like she was saying goodbye. And I said, damn. I thought maybe like this is an old picture from like glamour shots. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
From old school stuff, you know what I mean? I said, she never showed us this picture. Like, I just kind of tripped out, Anyways, I didn't think much of it. Went back, sat down, and I had to use the restroom, so in the service, I went there, came back, and it was back to the other picture. You know what I mean? This took after a little bit of time. It wasn't that quick. And it went back to the picture with the red sweater, and I was like, what the hell? Like, they should have left the other one that was more appropriate. Anyhow, I'm going to cut it real quick. We had to leave because they were going to cremate her, so they were going to bury her the following week, after the cremation. So we did all that. We ended up going to the family's house, and we're sitting there. Everybody's talking. And I heard some ladies talking, they were talking about good times or whatever. And this man said, hey, you know what? And he said it in Spanish. He goes, digan lo que quieran. Ese retrato está embrujado. Right? And I turned around like, what the hell? He said that picture's cursed. I turned her over my shoulder. It was the one I read. And then two ladies started arguing. She goes, no, I thought it was the and they're talking in Spanish. She said, I thought it was the flowers, the white flowers, the reflection. And then the other one is, the candles and whatever, they were talking. So I asked them, I said, hey, look, I don't mean to interrupt and get into the conversation. I go, nobody switched a picture last week? And they said in Spanish, they go, hey, también lo vio. Like, he saw it too. And I was like, what the heck? What are you guys talking about?
Oh, wow.
That picture doesn't exist.
Oh,
that
wow.
picture does not exist. And I'll put it together like this, man. Both of my parents are gone. I had them cremated. What I just told you guys, I put it on my parents' ashes, bro. That's what happened. And I don't feel scared, but a lady there told me after, she said, you know what? We went to your house before she passed because she had cancer. She died of cancer. And she really wanted to see you guys, and you guys weren't home that day. So, I mean, I only put it like that, bro. Like, and that was cutting it short, guys. I'm sorry about that. I mean, there's more detail to it, but that's the short version.
No, well, first of all, thank you for sharing. I've never heard of anything like that as far as a picture. I don't even want to even put the words possessed or embrujado, like what you said, cursed, but that's the first time I've ever heard of anything like that. And wow, I really have no words other than, thank you for taking the time and calling us and sharing with us because, wow, I'm speechless. So
yeah, thank you for calling in and sharing that with us. Definitely never heard nothing like that.
Not a problem, fellas.
So
no, yeah, and not a problem, fellas. The only reason too I remember the year was 2006, and I actually looked it up on the internet, looked up her name, and I found it, and I said, yeah, because I had bought the Mobb Deep Blood Money album,
yes.
and I had bought it that day of the funeral, and that's how I remember the year. But it just really tripped me out, man. And I mean, I don't get scared. I just kind of like I'm kind of honored, to be honest with you, because I feel like she kind of was saying, hey, goodbye.
Well, maybe she was saying goodbye to you.
Man.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you, man.
Yeah, that's how I took it. Hey, you guys are welcome, man. Good show. Keep it up, bro.
Man, thank you for coming through. Thank you for sharing.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good night.
We'll continue to take calls as they're coming in. So let us know when we get another call. Other than that, you asked, the question was, can a serpent be possessed?
Yeah. Can an animal be possessed?
Okay, when we were talking about humans in the Bible, it only mentions 2 humans, and they're in the New Testament. One was Judas, one was the Antichrist, or some people call him the Anti-Messiah.
And that has yet to happen, correct?
Oh, Judas already happened.
Okay.
The Antichrist has yet to happen.
Now, this is a prediction in the Bible, correct?
It's a prophecy. It's different than a prediction.
Prophecy, okay.
Okay. Prophecy meaning that it's going to happen.
Now, this is predicted from somebody years and years ago, correct?
Yes. Once again, not a prediction. And according to John the Revelator, he saw this. So he wrote down what he saw. And he said, this is going to happen because he saw into the future.
So many different writers, one author is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So as far as the serpent is concerned, yes, in the Old Testament, it tells us that, yes, because there was only 2 people alive at that time, was Adam and Eve. And so he needed a body, so he used a serpent.
Okay.
So,
That's great. All right.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, and I'm glad that he called us. But the number's still up there, so anybody that wants to call and share a story, I mean, I thought that story right there had me like, I had no words.
I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is, remember that movie with Eddie Murphy, The Haunted Mansion, where it's all the ghosts and everything,
Right.
where the picture would change. The guy would look old, and then he would look young.
Right.
And then even in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the guy who had died, he died later on from seeing his picture, but his picture was aging and not him.
That's right.
Remember? But I have never heard nothing like that.
Yeah,
that was very
I'm glad he called.
Very
so
interesting.
Those of you watching, once again, if you want to share something, you can feel free to call us. We'll take your call. We want to give you guys an opportunity to share your freaky tales, your stories that have been passed down, or stuff that you've experienced possibly in the past, or maybe even experiencing now. We've had people in the past that have called because they're experiencing things now. So, but now let's continue, because I know we were talking about movies and it led to other things, but our topics today is whether we want to call them scary / horror movies. Anything as of recent that you've seen that, or maybe something old that we might have missed that would you say had an impact in your life? Let me start it off. I don't know if people want to call it scary or horror movie. Maybe it's action, thriller. I'm not sure. But I'll tell you one movie that was ahead of its time, and it scared the hell out of a lot of people. It scared an entire generation from going to the beach. And that was Jaws. Caller. Let's
get back to that.
take this call. Caller, thank you for calling. What's your name, if you care to be named, and what city you calling from?
Well,
caller hung up.
all right.
Maybe they may call back. If not, don't worry about it.
Maybe their phone got possessed.
Possibly. Now, let me say this. If you call and we answer, give us a moment to put on the headphones and turn on the volume so that we can hear you. A lot of times people call, they get through, nobody says anything, and they hang up. Give us a few moments so that we can put on the headphones and we can, continue.
Because the call's still coming through.
Right.
So,
okay. You know what? For right now, for an example, Jaws. There had never been a movie done like that before. And for it to have been so gruesome and so scary, once again, music played a major role.
I think in that movie, yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Played a major role. Let's name some movies that we'll come back to it that played major roles. Let's look at movies like Indiana Jones. It's not scary, but everybody knows those songs.
That's a classic movie. But you gotta say because the song though.
Look at Jurassic Park, the songs.
Okay, yeah,
the
that's
themes.
another one. Yeah.
Okay, look at Star Wars, the themes. I believe that's what lacks in a lot of these scary movies, because all of these classics, and think about how old they are. a lot of these classics had that theme music that when you play it, it takes you back immediately to that movie or to that scene in that movie.
Yes, facts, yeah.
What movies today have those scores, those movie themes?
Honestly, it's very, very hard to say that because I feel like how you said back then and how what you were saying earlier, I believe those songs made the movies.
Yeah.
Like how you said, it brought a picture, brought a memory back. Definitely made those movies. Today, there's not that many big actors or nothing like that it was back then. Where are the Arnold Schwarzeneggers? Where are the Rockies? You know?
Hello, caller. You there? Hello?
Caller.
Hello, are you there?
Oh, hey, Tony. How's it going?
Hey, good, good. What's your name, if you care to state your name, and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Oregon.
Oregon.
My name is Raiders4821.
Okay.
Well, that's my username.
Okay. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're having a great time, especially now that you called and you're going to share something with us.
Oh, hell yeah, man. For sure, man. It's Freaky Tales, you know. So I got some stuff to share real quick, you know. Yeah, man. Like I remember one time, you know, one story I got to share is one night I was here at my house, you know, and someone came over and knocked on the door like really, really hard, and usually, you know, we got a big property, and my house is surrounded by fields, so someone came and knocked on the door really hard, and the dogs, they're right there sleeping by the door. And usually when someone comes up, you gotta come up to the gate and come up the ramp, and the dogs will, you know, usually go off. And it's not, you know, it kind of shook everybody. We opened the door, nobody was there, and our property kind of got the little history of some, you know, kind of activity usually goes around. And we live by the 45th parallel magnetic line, and our area used to be a lake, and there used to be a lot of not a lot of there used to be a Native American tribe that used to live around here. So if you go walking around the fields and all that, you can always find arrowheads, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a trip because there's always things going on, and not just me, but you know, because I live in a little neighborhood that's only like 4 blocks altogether. So a lot of the neighbors, they always experience things too, and so it's pretty trippy around here.
Okay,
sometimes, you know.
So
and,
it's not necessarily you experiencing this; it's other people as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, definitely.
I had a question because I know you.
One night there was.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you had mentioned that there was a pounding on your door, correct?
Yep, and there was a real loud knock, and it woke. I mean, everybody was we're right here making dinner, and everybody was like, "What the hell?" And looked out the door, and the dog just scattered out to the yard. And we have a big property, and yeah, man, I ran out there. Nobody's on there. Nobody was out there. The lock was on the gate. Nobody was there, and the dogs didn't find nobody either. I got 2 boxes and German Shepherds, you know, and yeah, I didn't find nobody. It was pretty trippy. And if you were to run around the yard, you'd probably be tripping over things because they have like things like, you know, road tillers, you know, things like that, car parts around there. You probably trip on there, and you have to know the yard to get around there.
Right.
And you know, like I said, the lock was still on the gate, and usually when someone comes into the yard, you'll hear the gate open, and the gate didn't open or not. You didn't hear none of that, and yeah, it was a trip.
You know,
and not only that, like you guys were talking about something. Go ahead.
No. I guess my only other small question that I wanted to ask is was that the only time that happened, or did it happen other times?
No. Well, that was the only time that happened.
Okay.
And the weird thing was, I talked to my supervisor the next day, and this happened on. I remember the time. It was 9:18 p.m. And I talked to my supervisor, and he lives not that far from me. And I told him about it, and he said, "Oh, hey man, that's weird, man. That's the same time I got home that night." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And when he comes over to my house and knocks for me, it's the same type of knock. That's why, and I thought it was him that knocked on my door.
Mm.
Oh, wow,
From the
that's
way
crazy,
he
too.
knocked on the door, and it was a real hard knock too, like boom, 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 boom. And I thought it was him, and that's the thing that kind of clicked with me right there. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, yeah, it was kind of weird. And then I told him about it. He went, "Oh, really? That's the same time I got home that night."
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh shit, that's a trip."
Okay.
And yeah.
Was there something else you were going to share?
No, probably just make it quick. I got a few other things to share, but for tonight, that'll probably be it for tonight.
Okay, great.
All right.
I want to thank you for calling in, for taking the time, and for being a part of Freaky Tales. We greatly appreciate you. Hope you have a blessed night, and hope, I just want to say once again, thank you for calling.
Appreciate the call. Shout out Oregon.
Thank you guys, man. Thank you guys.
Cool. Thank you for
being there
calling.
and,
Yeah, it's funny.
Take it easy, guys. All right.
All right, you too. You have a good night.
It's funny that he said that a loud pound or a loud knock on the door, simply because if you remember Paranormal Activity, the movie, the first one, they experienced a lot of pounding at the door or at least on the walls. Now, I said that to say this, that many people that I've known that have experienced paranormal activity, they experience pounds on their walls or on their doors.
Remember Mel Gibson in that movie Signs?
Yeah, right.
Or Joaquin Phoenix?
Right.
They were experiencing poundings and walking on the top, remember?
Yeah.
But it was an alien.
Yeah.
That was crazy too.
Caller, where are you calling from? Hello, caller. Caller hung up. Maybe it was the devil that hung up on him. So
Maybe.
okay, we'll wait on another call. So now we were talking about what movie? Do you remember? Signs. But before that, before we took the call, I think
Jaws, Star Wars. How movies had an effect. How the music it pretty much made those movies last. They became known for the songs. Like go to Universal Studios. They still have the Jaws attraction. Come on.
Yeah.
They still have Jurassic Park.
Okay, caller, hold on a second, caller.
1 second, hold up.
Caller, are you there? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Fernando. I'm from Oakley.
Oakland?
It's about 40 minutes from, Oakley, 40 minutes from, San Francisco.
Awesome. Go ahead and share with us.
We're a big fan of the show, too, Tony. And me and my wife and my sister and brother-in-law, too, we're big fans. But,
Thank you.
Appreciate you for supporting.
Yeah, no problem. It's just how you guys were talking about scary movies
Yes.
and paranormal activity. I remember back when in college, probably 5 years ago, or I forgot what paranormal activity movie it was. But I had gone with a group of friends, and we were watching the movie. It was probably the second or third one.
Mm-hmm.
And after the movie was done, everybody had left the movie theater. And it was just me and one of my friends forgot to put on, or didn't forget, but was putting on their jackets. So I waited there for them, and everybody had already left the theater at that time. So it was just me, one of my friends, and I wasn't really paying attention to anybody else, but I could see that nobody was there. I mean, we were the last ones, probably took 5 minutes or so. And then as soon as she put on her jacket, they looked to the side, saw a person right there just looking straight at the screen.
Wow.
And they're just like, are they okay? I was like, I don't know. I didn't really think about it too much. My friend got kind of close to the person, and they didn't move at all. In that instance, she's like, oh, hell no. My friend took off, and I wanted to run too, but at the same time, I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, something really going on. But we got out. I felt a little freaked out. And at that time, too, one of the workers that cleaned up after the movie,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They saw us and they're like, oh, like, what happened? And they're like, oh, there's somebody in there. I'm not sure if they're dead or what. They didn't move. Like, we got close to them and they didn't blink, they didn't move, they didn't do nothing. and that we're kind of. He went in there to clean up. He saw the person. He came back out like probably 2 minutes later, or like a minute later. He was like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's just freaky."
Wow.
I went up to them too, and they didn't move. So then more people from the theater that was working there went there. We were me and my group of friends were kind of sitting on not sitting, but just standing on the side, seeing what they said or seeing if the person came out. Somebody else came out like, yeah, no, there's nobody in there anymore. There was an elevator to that theater, but the elevator got out close to where we were too, and we didn't see nobody get out. It might have been a prop from the movie that they were doing, but it was just kind of freaky.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
Pretty
Yeah,
freaky.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I'm glad you called, man.
Yeah.
Glad you took the time to call.
No, yeah.
Man, thank you for sharing.
And yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Okay, listen, you have a blessed night, man. Okay.
Man, shout out Oakland.
All right.
Shout out
You
to
guys
Oakland.
Oakley. Well, Oakley.
Oakley. Shout out
Well, Oakland
Oakley.
too.
Awesome.
Shout out Oakley.
And
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
shout out to
All
my
right.
brother-in-law Ozzy and my sister Lorena, my wife Linda.
All of them.
And much love to all you guys.
Thank you.
Orale.
Thank you.
All right, man.
I'd like to thank all the callers so far. We're still taking calls. You want to call, share a freaky story, feel more than free. We'd like for you to be a part of this show. Greatly appreciate you. We try to keep it between 2 to 3 minutes tops. But once again, thankful that everybody has tuned in, and people that are on the live chat. They always make it exciting.
Definitely.
So we appreciate that. So now, once again, theme music. Once again, Halloween would not be Halloween without the theme song.
No, it wouldn't be. It
I
wouldn't
mean,
be.
think about that for a second.
It wouldn't be. What is Michael Myers walking to?
Yeah.
Silence?
And I know we're kind of getting off track with the horror movies, but I just want to touch something to make a point. You got the Rocky movie that had the theme that everybody knows. Okay, classic music.
Classic.
Okay, you got Eye of the Tiger. Classic. Okay, just even songs on Rocky IV when he fights Drago. Classic songs.
Man.
Classic
Amazing,
songs.
Amazing songs.
And I mean, we could just keep going on. That's one thing that I believe that he set out to do. They gotta have classic music in these movies.
I definitely think you were on point about that, but I think that's a different direction. But I think nobody has that point of view no more, and you have that point of view about surrounding the movie around your music first,
Right.
because those are classic songs. Those are great classic songs. Those movies are probably still around because those songs.
Exactly.
If you really think about it. But yeah, definitely.
And I'm just going to give a little snippet, okay? The documentary that I'm filming, what I started first and I'm not done was the music.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I started with the music. So
Started a while ago, actually. A long time ago already now.
we don't have to tell anyone, but I'm just throwing that little freaky,
Freaky Tales.
the freaky nugget. So, but yes, but now.
Can't give out too much, so just tone it down.
Right. Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and take some more calls. We still got a little bit of time. So those of you guys that just want to join in and share maybe something that's happened to you, something, maybe you just want to talk about a movie that might have freaked you out or might have, traumatized you when you were a kid. Caller, give us time. We're going to put on the headphones and you can share with us. Caller, are you there? And where are you calling from? Caller.
Chris from Hollywood.
Hollywood. How you doing, Hollywood?
Yeah, not much. How are you guys? I love the show. You guys are people do good work.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, sir. Share with us. We want to hear your story.
Yeah. So I want to talk about something interesting that has happened to me in the last a lot of years over the past.
Yes.
This happened 20 years ago. I was dreaming that I was driving, and I kept crashing. At the time, I didn't even drive, and I just kept dreaming that, like, maybe for 3 days. And then on Friday, they told me that my cousin had died in a car accident. And I was like, that's weird. I was dreaming the whole week that, like, crashing,
Yeah.
So, and another time, too, I dreamt that I saw a friend. He was bleeding from the head. And I was like, why am I dreaming of this friend, bleeding from the head? And then like on the weekend, they told me that he had like a stroke and he was like bleeding from the head. So it's kind of related to what you were talking the other day about dreams, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of
Yes.
seeing the future, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Very strange.
Yeah. Well, see, a lot of
Those are
times,
my dreams.
and I'm glad you shared them with us, because a lot of times, I believe, my opinion, some dreams are just dreams. Some dreams have interpretations. And I do believe that some dreams do come true,
Yeah.
but, and that's what kind of freaks us out, because we really can't put our finger on it. Does this have an interpretation? What does this mean? Is it going to happen? We don't know.
I hear you. I believe the mind is a powerful thing, though, and can bring those things to life.
And I have another one too. This just happened maybe 10 years ago. I was dreaming of scorpions coming out of my car, and I would see like coffins, and I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, what does this mean? Scorpions coming out of my car, and a coffin. And then maybe like a year later, my dad passed away, and I was like, what the heck? It's weird. It's a weird dream. I don't know what it meant, but
Wow. Well,
really weird.
Well, you know what? Maybe in time, maybe you'll get an interpretation. Maybe it was just a dream, and if I had answers, I would give them to you. I would speculate a little bit more, but you know what? First, foremost, I want to thank you for calling, for taking the time to share with us. We greatly appreciate you guys calling in.
Yep. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. Big
love
time.
the show. Keep up the great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a blessed night. Yeah, you know what? I appreciate people taking the time to call in. I know sometimes I wish I could elaborate a little bit more on some of those dreams, but like I said, sometimes dreams are just dreams. Sometimes dreams have an interpretation, and sometimes dreams, come to fruition. So, caller, give us time. We're gonna put on our headset. Hello, caller, are you there?
Yes,
Yes. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from La Puente. My name is Marcos.
Marcos, ¿cómo estás? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I got a story that it didn't happen to me, but it happened to one of my homeboys' dad. And the story goes, when he was in Mexico as a kid, right? He's from the times where there was no restrooms, so they had like back houses where they go take a shit in the back. And so one of these nights, right, he decides, he had to go use the restroom, so he goes out. He goes into the little back house, and this is at night, right, like every other story. So he's in the little, it's like a little back house, like a little closet type thing, right? So he's in there. I guess he's gonna do like number 2 or something, right? So he hears a noise, so he's like, you know what, better not. So he starts walking back to the house, and mind you, it's dark. The only light is the moonlight. So as he's walking back home, he sees like a shadow, right? He hears a noise, and he sees a shadow behind him, right?
Yes.
And as he's looking at the shadow, he makes out like a trench coat and a brim hat, and so he sees the shadow creeping up behind him, and it's gaining on him. And from under the shadow, like under the trench coat, he could see a tail, like a tail coming up under the trench coat, right? So he starts running. He goes in the pad, and he hides under his blanket. And he could see the shadow still coming in, like through his little hallway, I guess. And he covers himself with a blanket, right? And when he takes it off, it's right on top of him. And he said it was like a blue hairy fool, so kind of like the fool from X-Men. And that was the story. And I thought you guys might trip out on it like
Wow.
I did.
Dude, just to ask, because I know you only know so much because it happened to someone and this story was shared to you.
Right.
Did this entity, did he do anything to him at all?
No, I guess he just wanted to freak him out. But like as we were young, he would always tell us little stories like that, and it was always something like that would happen around the house. and it happened to the rest of his relatives, to the same type of creature, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Wow.
You know?
You said the blue guy.
Yeah,
you
but that
mean
was my
Beast?
story.
You mean Beast from from
He
X-Men?
looks like, well, based on how he described him, he
Yeah.
looks like the guy from the X-Men. That's how I'm picturing it, you know?
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's-
closest thing.
That's fucking crazy.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what? I've never heard, out of all the stories, I've heard of silhouettes. I heard of shadow people. I've heard of people
No,
saying,
he actually saw him. He said he was hairy and he was either blue or purple or something like that.
Wow.
And he was right on top of him, face to face, and he couldn't yell. By the time he got the sound out, he just vanished.
wow. Wow. You know what? Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing, because I've
exactly.
never heard anything like that. And I'm sure if anybody listening to this podcast, if you have any stories like that or have seen anything like this, please call us and let us know about it. You know, because this is the first time
Hey,
that.
but-
Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, hey, we love your show. Me and my Hyena, we're always looking forward to your show, man. You've been missing, but glad you're back.
Thank you, brother. We greatly appreciate
Thank you for
it.
the support, big time.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
Have a blessed night, man. Thank you for sharing.
All right, man. Hey, you guys have a good night.
You too.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you. Wow.
That's crazy. That reminded me of some stuff. Like I heard of something called like a sleep paralysis one
Yeah,
time.
of course. Okay. Caller, hold on a second, caller, until we get our headset on, and we will get right with you. Caller, where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. I got a good story for you guys.
Yes, sir. Share it with us, please.
All right, so this is something that happened to me when I was in my teenage years. I must have been like maybe 16 years old. I got together with a group of friends, and we were gonna go to his girl's house to smoke.
Yes.
We were little potheads up to no good, so we're like, you know what, let's do it. We get to this house, and it's like a mansion, right? And I couldn't believe it. I get in there, and I'm asking the girls, like, yo, how do you guys afford to live in here? And I guess they're only paying like $250 each. The guy wasn't charging them very much, but they did not have the upstairs accessible. So the upstairs was not rented, only the rooms downstairs. So I asked why, and the girl said because so and so lived there, right? And then they just ignored me and kept talking. You know, the blunts kept getting passed around, the drinks, I'm like, whatever, you know. So we go back inside, and I'm chilling in the living room, and I bring it up again, and they ignore me again. So I start hearing footsteps upstairs, almost like circles. And I'm like, okay, who's up there? I'm going to go up there. And one of the girls said, no, don't you go up there or you're going to regret it, right? They ignored me again after that, kept smoking. Well, it kept getting louder. And one of the other dudes that was there with us, claiming a big tough guy, he said, I'm going to go up and, I'm going to go investigate. He got halfway to the stairs and he turned around. He said he felt the dark presence. So here I am, I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to go see for myself. There's probably somebody up there messing around with you. So I started walking up the stairs. I got about halfway, and I felt a man walking down right behind me and passing me. Like, literally, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there. And slowly I turned around, and I looked downstairs, and everybody's frozen.
Wow.
This thing opened up the door, slammed it open, and left. Or I don't know. Maybe it was just telling us, like, hey, get the fuck out of here. We all left. When I got in the car with my boy and his girl and everybody, like, we didn't talk about it. As a matter of fact, I never seen my friend again, his girlfriend, or anybody that night, ever again.
Wow.
And yeah, I'll never forget it. It was really crazy, man. It was, like I said, we all froze. We never talked about it again, and I never ever even seen that house again. It was a trippy thing.
So let me ask you a quick question. You said that this person walked right by you.
I felt this ghostly presence, like kind of like not running down, but speed walking down the stairs.
Okay.
And I just felt like the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and I froze. I didn't even want to look behind me. And then finally, when I slowly looked back, I looked down to the living room, and everybody froze. Everybody, even the other guy that was claiming he was tough, a big gangbanger or whatever,
He froze. The last thing he said is, "My grandpa warned me about shit like this. Y'all white people are crazy."
Wow.
What he said. Because the girls that lived there were some white chicks, you know, and
Wow.
they were only paying like $250 for rent there, you know, like they weren't
Right.
paying nothing. Like,
Now,
but to them it was cool. It was like whatever, you know, like they got used to it. But for me, nah, never. That was the first experience that really was like, okay, this shit's real.
you know, let me ask you this. So this was more of a presence that you felt. It wasn't necessarily something you saw.
I felt it and I heard it. I just did not see it.
Oh, correct. Okay.
But this thing slammed the door open.
Yes. Wow.
Hey, so did you feel like, was it wind walking by you?
I guess to the best of your description,
Yeah.
because there's been people that have shared stuff like this, and they didn't necessarily say that it was a wind, but it was more of an actual presence that you knew something was there.
So you felt it then?
Yes. It's more of a feeling.
Yeah. I definitely did, because I didn't want to turn around. My stomach dropped. My hands got sweaty. I froze, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like a big Rottweiler coming charging at me, and I looked down at the living room, and everybody was frozen. Like they got scared especially because they heard it. Everybody heard it coming down the stairs, and then boom, the door slammed open.
Wow.
And that's when everybody said, "Okay, we're out." Everybody gets out.
Yeah, wow.
Never seen that guy again. And this was a guy I used to hang out with all the time. Never seen him again. Never seen his soul again, or any of the people that were there that night.
Wow. Thank you, man. I greatly appreciate you sharing that. I love hearing these kind of stories. I'm just thankful that I didn't experience that one, but I am thankful for you calling. So.
No problem, man. Hey, I enjoyed the show. Hey, you guys are cool peeps. Have a good night, okay?
Thank you.
Have a good night, too. Thank you.
Wow, that was pretty good right there. You know, most people that have said that have experienced that, it's not necessarily like like a wind, like you were asking. It's more of an actual presence that you feel it. It's almost like an intimidation feeling. It's almost like when you're almost getting bullied by somebody bigger and they're walking up to you, you already feel that presence coming. Yeah. This is a little bit different because you can't see it.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Like, you feel something walking by you then. Like, you know there's energy, there's something there coming by you. That's crazy, though.
And the people downstairs, what he was saying, all did the same thing. So that means that presence was so strong that everybody stopped.
Yeah, but they knew it before. They heard things before and still were living there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to do none of that one.
You know, some people have, I believe, have gotten so used to that they think, oh, it's an angel, it's a guardian angel, you know, it's something positive. Nah, man, I don't want nothing living with me that I can't see. You know, I mean, so, but we're going to take maybe one more call. If you want to call, make it maybe no more than 2 to 3 minutes, your story. We greatly appreciate. We had Las Vegas, Oakley, Oregon, and somebody else called Hollywood. Yeah. So thank you for those calls.
Yeah, greatly appreciated.
Yes. So thank you. So we're gonna keep it pushing, and once again, we got a couple of minutes before we call it a night, but we'll take at least another phone call. We'll take 2 if they're kind of quick. But once again, so we were talking about
music.
We were talking about music, but let's finish talking about presence like this. Mm-hmm. You know, one good movie that depicted evil presence. If I don't know if you've ever seen it, Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, the movie Ghost. When these silhouettes, these shadows came up out of the ground, kind of almost looks somewhat like this, and they came up out of the ground, and then they took this person. Yeah. And when a good person died in this movie, the light came and you were taken up. But in the 80s, when I first saw the movie Ghost, and I saw those evil presence coming up, looking like silhouettes. I've seen silhouettes like that, you know, and that's the scary part, because when I saw it there, I'm like, wow, somebody must know something to implement that into this movie.
Yeah, somebody's seen it or experienced it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You know, so.
That's definitely crazy, honestly, to feel that. You feel the energy, you feel a presence, you feel something come by you, and for everybody else to freeze and then the door close.
Yeah, so
you felt something. Everybody felt something.
This spirit, this entity, this whatever it was able to actually touch and open and close and give off, if you will, presence where other people can feel it without even revealing who it is.
Now, how much of some people like to say supernatural? How much of the supernatural can affect us? If you can feel the energy, he said his hairs on the back of his neck stood up.
Right.
If you can feel little things like that, what makes you think that they can't touch you?
Oh, I believe that they can.
So you think you could be touched by something spiritually like that?
Well, in his story, he proved it by saying that he opened the door and he closed it.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess, yeah.
You know, so like I'll give an example. Someone told me this. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. But this is what somebody told me. He went into a bookstore and here's what he said. His words. I was looking to pick a fight with the devil. That's what he said. And I said, how was that? And he said that I went into like demonology area of this bookstore, independent bookstore. And he said he was opening up the books and spitting in them. Opening them up, spitting. And then he finally came across the Anton LaVey, the satanic book, the satanic Bible.
Yeah.
So he opened that one up and he said, he goes, man, I dug deep and I spit a nasty loogie in it. That's what he said. As funny as that may sound.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He goes, then I closed it. He goes, then I'm going to spit about $50. Okay.
He spit in $50.
According to him.
Okay.
That's what he said. He goes, I could have lit him on fire, but the old man kept looking at me because I kind of had to spit him real quick. So I walk out. He goes, and as soon as I walk out, to be continued, caller, are you there? Caller.
Yes.
Yes, where are you calling from, caller?
Yes. Sun Valley, California.
Sun Valley, California. How you doing tonight?
Good.
You want to go ahead and share with us?
Yes.
Anytime.
Yes. I'll share my story about a silhouette spirit
Yes.
based on the movie The Grudge. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Share my story?
Yes.
Okay, so this was a Memorial Day of the year 2000, 25 years ago. I live in an apartment building, and I was ear witness to a murder at the apartment building. So when I was called in for a subpoena at a Superior Court murder trial, they show you the graphic pictures of the murder at that particular apartment unit, rather. And so about a year later, when a new family moved in, my mother asked them if they have noticed anything about that apartment building where we knew the murder had occurred. And the lady shared her story on what she saw, a silhouette spirit at that particular location of her bedroom, which is the same that I was shown at the Superior Court murder trial. Therefore, what I'm trying to say is that based on the movie The Grudge, which is a Japanese movie, in where if a murder occurs in that spot during a rage, then the spirit stays there. And what a coincidence that the silhouette showed there where the lady said that the murder happened. Yeah, so that's my story.
Wow. You know what? I believe that. I do believe that. You know, because there are certain actions, there are certain events that take place somewhere. And even though, like what you said, it was a murder that took place, let's just say hypothetically that somewhere, you know, out in Hollywood, there was a murder that took place in a home. And even though they clean up the body, they clean up the apartment and they paint it, there is possibly something still there. You know, so.
Right. And by law, you can ask about the history of the apartment. But because this was a family that had just came from Sinaloa, Mexico, they just moved into the apartment without asking. Well, I mean, it's not like you have to, but they didn't know the history of the apartment.
Yeah.
So us knowing the history, because I got a subpoena from the murder trial. My mother curiously asked.
Wow. Well, you know what, man? Thank you for sharing that, because that's educational for people now, that if you're looking for an apartment, looking for a house, condo, whatever, you can ask with the history of this place that you plan to live in.
Yeah, I think that is very important to ask about that, though. Very important.
Thank you, man. We greatly appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us. We thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story.
All of you have a good night.
You
have
too.
a good night.
Thank you for taking my call. Good night. Bye.
Okay. That was the last call right there. So we can take the number down. So we want to thank everybody for calling. That was the last call. We're going to go ahead and wind this down. But we were talking earlier, right before the call. Refresh my memory on that.
I'm trying to remember right now too.
But let me just share something about that movie, The Grudge. That's another movie that we forgot because
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I haven't seen it in forever.
Yeah.
Definitely a trip.
But I do believe that when certain events like that take place, there is something there still. I truly believe that.
There's a house right now in Hollywood. Many rappers have rented it out for music videos, for whether you want to call album release parties.
Okay.
Just a regular party or whatever. I'm familiar. I know what area the house is. I can't tell you what house it is, but the house can't be sold because someone was killed in it about a year or 2 years ago.
Meaning that they can sell it, but people that know that there's been a murder,
people that know there's been a murder,
don't want to buy it.
Don't want to buy it. Plain and simple. And multiple people have already said that people came by. They went through multiple real estate dealers because I know the person who knows this person who was a real estate dealer, and they told me personally they cannot sell the house.
Yeah, and it's sad because the person who owns it wants to get rid of it.
That's one of their many houses and wants to get rid of it and still can't get rid of it. And it's been about a year, almost 2 years now since that person was shot and killed in that house. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would not want to live in a room, stay in a room, sleep in a room where someone was murdered.
It's in Hollywood. It's an amazing mansion for sure.
Yeah,
amazing
I don't
mansion.
care. I don't care how amazing it is. If I had the money, I ain't buying it.
It's up there. It's definitely up there. Like,
I mean,
you having 10, 15, 20 million maybe to buy that house for sure.
I mean, well, think about this. You know, you're living the life. You have the money. You're living up there. You wake up in the middle of the night, and there's something that's 6 foot, 7 foot tall staring at you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know,
I wouldn't know what to do.
You wouldn't know what to do.
Wouldn't know what to do, honestly.
So,
yeah.
and many times that's what we call an oppressing spirit, meaning something that's tormenting you, something that's harassing you, you know, terrifying you, you know. And I know many people have experienced those things, and we appreciate everybody that has called and has shared that these stories with us. So we greatly appreciate. That's what keeps this show going. You know,
definitely when people call into it, you want to hear people's story, hear their point of view, hear what they're talking about, see what they've seen and experienced.
Yeah, see what they've been going through. So
Definitely.
With that being said, so we're going to go ahead and wind things down. Anything that maybe you want to share, anything maybe you want to bring up, anything we might have missed, that maybe another movie or something?
Off the top of my head, no, not really. No, I don't think so. I think we pretty much ran through stuff for today. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. First of all, I want to thank you for being a part of today's show. I thought it was important for you to finally be seen because I've always given you a shout out for helping me promote and push what we do here, and you're definitely a part of it. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for coming on. People kind of get a better picture of you, what you were raised with, what you're about. I mean, still don't even know the music side of you. So that's more to come. That's later. Let's push it to the side. But yeah, definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in. Want to thank everybody who has subscribed, who has liked, who has commented. Whether you hit the like button, dislike button, it just means you just watched. And thank you everybody in the live chat, because you guys are the ones that keep it live. Tonight we keep it freaky. So once again, I won't be here next Friday. I'll be here the following Friday. So twice a month, or once again, every other week, and it'll give me more time to gather up more guests. With that being said, let me go ahead and give a shout out once again to Bskanless, to Alex Cervantes, Cervantes Enterprise. Let me give a shout out to John ELKINS. Let me give a shout out to Anthony, our new intern. We were asking for an intern on other podcasts, and you know what? An angel fell from the sky. So we're thankful for Anthony. He's part of the Rhodium Radio team, the Freaky Tales podcast theme,
And we greatly appreciate him, and we greatly appreciate you, all our callers. Much love, much respect. And with that being said, once again, we'll be back 2 Fridays from now, Friday after next. And expect the unexpected. And I will see you Sunday on my other podcast. Thank you. Stay tuned. And don't look behind your back now.
Have a freaky Friday.